Come on into the studio. I'm Tamara Brown, joined by Evan Lazar and Mike Dussault. We're going to talk about the Patriots' Week 2 matchup with the Dolphins. But first, final reactions to the Week 1 game, some encouragement for the fans before we turn the page to Week 2.
Yeah, I would say, a disappointing loss, of course, but I thought you saw signs of life from the offense, especially in the second quarter. They weren't able to pull it out at the end, but for me, it's the defense. I think the new elements that they've added in, Marte Mapu, Keon White, Christian Gonzalez playing every snap, actively involved. I think those are really good pieces that the defense needs. So I've got a lot of excitement about the defense going forward this season, and let's face it, they're going to need it starting this weekend against an explosive offense with Miami.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I think the big thing with the defense is we knew that some of these pieces coming in would maybe put them over the top to go from a really good defense to a potentially elite defense. Can you do it against a great quarterback? We've seen them do it against some of the lesser quarterbacks in the league, but can you do it against a great quarterback?
Mike, Evan brought up how the Patriots defense was able to neutralize Jalen Hurts for the most part. Do you think there will be a similar game plan for Tua Tagovailoa?
It's a tough one. Obviously the mobile quarterback portion that you have with Jalen Hurts and some of the read option aspect of their offense, probably not quite as much involved with Miami. But look, Tyreek Hill, he went off. Tua Tagovailoa is 4-0 against the Patriots. Not huge stat lines against the Patriots. It's not like he's lit the Patriots up. I think he has 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So it's just been about situational football, I think, against Miami. But certainly with Jonathan Jones in the mix, Christian Gonzalez in the mix, I think they do have some pieces. We know what Jonathan Jones has done against Tyreek Hill in the past. Not to say that automatically means they're going to hold him to, under 100 yards, but I think that they'll have a good plan. I have some encouragement, but certainly Tua Tagovailoa is a really good player and has a lot of accuracy in the middle of the field, and that's something they're going to have to be aware of.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do this time around because last year they played a lot of zone coverage against this Miami team, even in Week 1 when Tua was under center. But we're a long way away from that game last year in September. There's been a lot of football in between, and the Chargers played a lot more man coverage on Sunday against Tua, and you saw what Tyreek Hill put up in the stat line against man coverage. So if you're going to play man against Tyreek Hill, you better put that safety over the top. Otherwise, the poor guy, Jonathan Jones, is going to be on an island against, I think, the hardest guy to cover in the National Football League right now. How do they devise a game plan? Because you also have to worry about Jalen Waddle. And I think that's what makes it difficult against this Dolphins team. It's not just one player that you can hone in on and then say, well, if we make Tua throw to somebody other than Tyreek Hill, we're all set. You got to take away both of them, which is why I think they played so much zone against this team. Keep the top on the defense, kind of play soft zone coverage, tackle well, limit yards after the catch, and not give up those big plays.
Like Evan mentioned, we saw some bright spots. We saw some breadcrumbs. Kendrick Bourne looked reborn in Week 1. What's the blueprint for Week 2 against the Dolphins, Mike?
It's a great question. I think it starts with health for me. I really think if they had Devontae Parker last week, he would have made a big difference. Instead of Kayshon Boutte on the outside, you would have had Parker. We know what he's able to do when he comes down with contested catches. But what's going to happen with Cole Strange and Michael Onwenu? Is Ramondre Stevenson going to be fully healthy after having a little bit of a stomach bug last week? I think that might have affected their usage last week of him with Ezekiel Elliott. So we look at the Chargers. They had a great day on the ground. Austin Eckler, a 50-yard run mixed in there with a big day for him. So I think it's going to start with, hey, let's see who's healthy and what can we do. Christian Wilkins, dynamic player, Xavier Howard on the outside. They've got some pieces in Miami that certainly will make things tough.
Yeah, I agree with Deuce. I also just think, looking at this Vic Fangio defense in Miami, new defensive coordinator, and I thought that there were some coverage assignment breakdowns with this Dolphins defense last week that if you play them, let's say post-Thanksgiving, they're probably not going to have those miscues, but they're learning a new system, and this Fangio defense is not simple. They're throwing them into a veteran defensive coordinators, a very sophisticated system that's evolved year after year after year, so there's a lot to learn, and I think if you're the Patriots, I would do a lot of different things to try to stress that defense's communication, their assignments. We saw those bunch formations and those stack alignments have success against the Eagles. Motion, things that just really put a lot of mental stress on the defense to see do they have all their rules in place? Do they have their checks in place? Do they know, okay, if they motion from a 3-by-1 to a 2-by-2, like who's handling that? Who's passing that off? Who's picking them up coming off the other side? Those are the little things about a defensive system that, all right, everybody plays cover 3. Like we all know what cover 3 is, but do we know how to communicate as the ball is being snapped when things are moving, when there's moving parts? And certainly that's what Mike McDaniel does on the other side, but I think Bill O'Brien is going to do a lot of that this week as well to see 2 weeks in, how does this Vic Fangio defense look in terms of being on the same page?
Well, that's it for our Game 2 preview as the Patriots get ready to hopefully bounce back against the Miami Dolphins. For more game previews and full analysis heading into this game, go to patriots.com.